hopefully we'll not need the hour and we'll have a respite before the main meeting at 2 o'clock. Okay, so welcome to this meeting of the Inverclyde Integration Joint Board Audit Committee. This meeting is being held remotely and will be filmed and recorded for live and subsequent broadcast available through the Council's website. The Integration Joint Board is a joint data controller with Inverclyde Council and NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde under the General Data Protection Regulation and the Data Protection Act 2018. This meeting will be broadcast and recorded to fulfil our public task obligation to enable members of the public to observe the democratic process. Data collected during this remote meeting will be retained in accordance with the Council published policies available through the Council website. Members of the IJB Audit Committee are reminded that they should follow the IJB's established meeting protocols, including around the use of the chat facility, and that comments made in the chat facility are visible to all participants in the meeting, which may include members of the public who have also received invites to the meeting. Okay, thanks for that. And that will lead us on to agenda item 1, which is the apologies, substitution and declarations of interest. Diane.
We have no apologies for absence. We'll now move to a roll call before asking for declarations of interest. Can the following members please indicate that they are present at the meeting? Councillor Quinn.
Present remotely.
Councillor Reynolds.
Present remotely.
Dr Metcalf.
Present.
Giovanni D'Alessio.
Present.
Stephen McLaughlin.
Yeah, I'm present online, thank you.
And we have Kenny Watt, who at the moment is observing the meeting.
Yeah, I'm present.
Are there any declarations of interest? None.
Don't see any. Okay, great. Thanks, Diane. So that leads us on to agenda item 2, which is the minute of the IJB Audit Committee of the 8th of September 2025. Are we all agree that minute? Yeah, don't see any comments. And 2B is the minute of the meeting of the IJB Audit Committee of the 17th of November 2025. Everyone okay to agree that as a minute? Yeah, great, thank you. So that leads us on to agenda item 3, which is the IJB Audit Committee rolling annual work plan. So I think that's really just for noting. I don't think anyone's taken us through that, but it's really just to note what reports will be coming to each of the committees going forward. Does anyone get any questions around that? No? Great, thank you. So that is on to agenda item 4, which is the internal audit progress report from the 1st October 25 to the 28th February 26. Andy.
Thanks, Chair. So through yourself, this is a regular progress report on internal audit activity for the period 1st of October 25 to 28th of February 2026. The audit of strategic planning and performance management arrangements has been finalised. The overall control environment opinion was satisfactory. There was one amber issue identified in relation to applying risk management to the strategic planning and performance management process, and an action plan has been agreed with relevant officers which will be monitored to completion by internal audit. In relation to internal audit action plans, there were no actions due for completion by the 31st of January, and there are 6 current actions being progressed by officers, and the status report is attached at Appendix 1. Chair, updates on partner organisation internal audit activity is set out at paragraphs 3.14 and 3.15 of the report. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thanks, Andy. Is there any questions for Andy? No, we're comfortable with that. Great. So we'll be happy with the recommendation to note the progress made for the internal audit from 1st October 25 to 28 February 26. Agreed. Great. That leads us on to agenda item 5, the status of external audit action plans as at 31st of January 26. Andy, again, thanks.
Thanks, Chair. So through yourself, again, this is a regular update report on the status of external audit action plans. There were no external audit actions due for completion by the 31st of January, and there are 2 current actions being progressed by officers. The status report is attached to Appendix 1, and external audit will review the status of their own action plans as part of their annual audit, which will come back to IJB at a later point in the year. Officers are here today if there's any questions on the relevant actions. Thanks, Chair.
Okay, thanks, Andy. Any questions on the external audit plan? No, we're all fairly comfortable. Just listen through, make sure I don't see any hands. We're happy to agree the recommendations for the external audit actions. Agreed?
Sorry, Councillor Quinn, Dr Metcalf had her hand up.
Sorry, Becky, I'm just going through the number. You're probably at the end there. You got a question for Andy. I think you're on mute, Becky.
Sorry, is that better? So we're just working out who to unmute so we don't get a whole lot of background.
Oh, great. We can hear you loud and clear. That's
Okay,
fine.
great. Thank you. So it's not really a question. I'm happy with the paper. I think it's just, I think we did note it at the agenda setting meeting, so it's worth noting and minuting here. Obviously, in terms of the actions and especially the first one, the integration scheme review recommendations, and just the challenges with that one, because it's not just under the control of this IJB, and it does involve other ones. So it's just worth noting that. I think my understanding is the second action is, I think officers hope that external audit will look at the response to that, and that might be one that might be potentially closed. Is that right when they review it? Is that the hope? Have I got that right?
Andy, do you want to come in there?
It would probably be for Craig to come in and confirm that.
Craig, you got comments on that?
Yeah, happy to come in. Yeah, this is the same conversation we generally have most years with the external auditors, and it's around the longer term financial planning recommendations. Generally what we do, and most people see this afternoon as well, is when we do our IJB and we don't do our budget, we do a 5-year medium-term strategy on that side of things. So the auditors have always kind of came back saying looking for something a wee bit more. I've always kind of challenged back on that. So, but I'll have that same conversation with them this year as well. For information for everybody, I'm actually starting off the audit process tomorrow with the external auditors, so I can raise it there. But I am comfortable at this moment in time around the recommendation, and I'm comfortable with the 5-year plan that we put in place.
Thanks, Craig.
Okay, great. Thanks, Craig. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so are we happy to note the progress in relation to those external audit actions? Yeah, great. Thank you. So that leads us on to agenda item 6, which is the IJB best value statement for 25-26. Craig, you want to take us through that report yet?
Yep, happy to do so. Through yourself, Chair. This is the IJB Best Value Annual Statement we do. IJBs have a statutory duty to make arrangements to secure best value. In order to do so, we have updated our best value statement as per the report. The statement consists of Inverclyde's position in relation to the 7 key Audit Scotland themes of best value, and we update this every year as an exercise collectively by the SMT. As part of this process, we present this position to the IJB for feedback, and we have done so over the last couple of months. And big thank you to everybody who's came back and given us feedback on that. We received a total of 8 responses, which was actually 2 responses more than what we had the previous year. And as you can see in the report, all the respondents agreed with our position on best value, and only minor changes were suggested to the overall report. But as always, happy to take any questions on this.
Okay, thanks, Craig. Any questions for Craig on the best value statement? No? Okay. Are we happy to agree to approve the best value statement enclosed? Great, thank you. So that leads us to agenda item 7. It's the IJB directions update at February 26th. Vicky, you want to take us through the report? I think it's really just for noting.
Thank you, Chair. So it's just asking the IJB, the Audit Committee, to note the summary of directions that have been issued since September 2025 to February of this year. Paragraph 4 of the report sets out the summary detail. The directions log is attached to Appendix 1. As stated at paragraph 3.3, this report only provides a summary of the directions issued, rather than providing any comment on their content, etc. Completed and superseded directions from previous financial years have been removed from the log, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, thanks, Vicky. Any questions on the directions report? Are we all comfortable with that? I agree with the recommendation just to note the contents of that report. Okay, we're okay with that. Thank you. Okay, so that leads us on to agenda item 8, which is our IJB risk register. Craig,
Yep.
are you taking us through the risk register? Yeah, great, thanks.
To do so, through yourself, Chair, this is our risk register, and as members know, we have to do a regular date on this at least twice a year. And what we do is, on a regular basis, the SMT look and review the overall IJB risk register, and we've done so here. And a few of the key changes are as follows. There have been some narrative changes around risk 3, around the financial sustainability, and this is to reflect ongoing challenges around our budget. And obviously, in the next next hour or so, we will present a 2-year budget, and it's been updated accordingly. So, risk 4 around workforce, the narrative has been updated to reflect the new workforce plan, which is also coming to the IJB in the next hour or so, and that will be presented later on. Risk 6, 7 and 10 have had some minor narrative changes as well. Risk 11 is a new risk that we've added to the register, and that's to reflect some of the recent instances of the performance in a few of our commission services. And we just felt as an SMT, because obviously this has happened, that it was something that we would like to put on the overall risk register of the IJB, just to draw attention to it. But as always, they're the main changes within the risk register, and as always, happy to take any questions you might have.
Okay, great. Craig, is there any questions on the revised risk register? We're all quite comfortable with that. Becky?
Thank you. Thank you. I think I'm always a bit aware that we get the opportunity to have some discussions at the pre-agenda, but I think it's important for the wider committee as well. It was just the new risk, and officers and I've had this brief thought before about the scoring. I'm not saying it needs to change now, but just for thinking about the scoring of the risk, and if that's quite right in terms of likelihood and impact. Thanks, Craig.
Yeah, happy to come back on that. Yeah, what we've done is we took that away, and we had a review of it in the last couple of weeks, and spoke to the various the heads of service and also the service managers that deal directly with this particular one, and we felt the score that we had on it there was appropriate at the moment. We didn't think it was any higher, and the reason for that is mainly because we're dealing with it and we're aware of the issues, and it's not manifested any further at this particular point, but it's something that we're fully aware of and keep under review. And if things change within this particular areas and the various providers we're talking about, then obviously we will update the scoring accordingly.
Brilliant, thank you.
Okay, great, thanks, Craig. Gio, you want to come in?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yep, hear you. Yeah, great.
Just a quick question. As you know, AI becomes more and more prevalent in the workplace, I'm just wondering whether, what's the discussions been going on about a safe use of AI, both in the administrative side, but also, as delivering services. Is there been any discussion on mitigants and approaches, review of policies, all of that?
I'm really sorry. I'm having great difficulty actually hearing people in the room. So I don't know. Kate, did you maybe?
No, I was just going to come in and say the same thing, Gio. I'm hardly hearing Craig, to be quite honest with you, and I've got my volume up at 100. So we didn't really pick up what you said.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I think if
Can
you
you
move
hear me
to
now?
Diane's, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll try that again.
My question was, as AI is becoming more, omnipresent, really, in the offices, in how we deliver services, in recruitment, HR, and all that, I think it's prudent to always consider like an AI risk, just to remind us what we need to do to make sure that there is a safe deployment without bias and without all the risks, but also being able to take advantage of it. So I was just wondering about what's the conversation has been about it and whether it's appropriate to have a risk in there, because I've seen many organizations including that in their strategic risk horizon.
So I'm happy to come in here. Gio, there has been conversations, but we aren't using AI because the council have to write a AI policy in the council side until we actually are able to use it. So we wouldn't be putting it on a risk per se until we actually have policies in place. The health board has a policy around AI, and AI, the governance for that is sitting with the health board. So we've got 2 governance routes for both of the digital world, and certainly that we haven't we've only rolled out the capacity around Microsoft products.
Yeah.
And that's where it's sitting with, but we'll go way back and have a discussion around it. We would hate to put on a risk for something that we are not allowed to do in the council side. So I would need to speak to legal services, or maybe if you could take that away, speak to the head of legal services, because certainly they are looking at it, and we'll pick it up from a health point of view. In terms of the governance, I think the governance sits with Elaine Van Hagen and her team, but I could be wrong. Okay.
Yeah, and if I may clarify, thank you, Kate. It's like there is also the concern of everybody has a mobile phone, right? And in the absence of policies, without direction, there could be people that think that it is legitimate to use tools that are on their mobile phone. They are out with the environment that is controlled by the board and by the IT. And this is why I was going to say, I think it's important that we keep it as an awareness, education, and then, for control from a perspective of the environment. Okay.
I would agree with that, Gio. It could sneak in when we don't have policies. That's why I want a policy for the HSCP, both from the council and the NHS. But I do appreciate people are already using AI, and they will be bringing it into it from a business sense.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. And that, so can I just ask a question on that? It's maybe a question for Andy. In terms of the IJB and we as the that would mainly assume the risk with the operational from the council and NHS rather than us as a board. So would that feature in some sort of operational risk register somewhere else as opposed to directly with ourselves as an IJB board?
Through yourself, Chair, yes, I would expect it would sit on the council's risk register for council-related risks, and separately on the health board's risk register. For the IJB itself, the risk is probably more, as Gio's outlined, more of missed opportunity. I suppose there's maybe things within the strategic plan that we could be using AI for, and it's maybe the risks of opportunity risk, if that makes sense, where we're not able to take advantage of AI, given maybe there's different policies or there's no policy, and being able to use the tools that are available. So that's where it would probably sit within the IJB as a strategic risk. Thanks.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
Thanks, Sandy. I think it was worth clarifying that, the operational risk rather than the strategic risk. So that's helpful. Thanks, Gio. Does that answer your question, I assume? Yeah, great. Is there any other questions on the risk register? Are we all fairly content to note the updates to the risk? Yeah, agreed. Okay, thank you. So that leads us on to agenda item 9, which is the audit fee for 26. Maybe you want to take us through this one?
Yep, happy to come in. Hopefully just a quick paper. This is every year, as you know, we have a requirement to bring it to IJB just to highlight and recommend the approval of the new audit fee. New audit fee for this financial year is £35,480, and that represents a 4.35% increase from last year. And this is the position nationally with all audit fees. So there's nothing really new in that, but as always, happy to take any questions.
If we get any questions on the audit fee for this year? Becky?
Thanks, Greg. I think the answer probably no, because you've helpfully laid out the previous fees, but is this set? Do we ever get asked for additional fees or additional days, or have they been pretty good at that? I asked because another piece of work, another meeting that additional days seem to be added in, so that's why I was just checking if we are impacted by that.
The easy answer for myself for this one is no. However, there is certain circumstances, if an audit was to go on, etc., and require a lot more work, they could potentially come and ask for that. Certainly in the 5 years I've been here, that's never happened. So I don't expect that to happen again. But to answer your question, it does happen elsewhere, but it's really few and far between.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Craig. Thanks, Becky. Is there any other questions on the audit fee? Okay, so we content to agree the recommendation that we approve the proposed audit fee. Yep, and with that, great. Well, thanks everyone. We managed to get that in half an hour. So I think it actually took us longer to all get logged in than it did to actually have the meeting. So it's good. We're talking about AI, and we're just doing the basics of getting logged in is a problem. Yeah. So it should be fun and games when we move on to the AI world. But anyway, so thanks for your time, and I'll see everyone at 2 o'clock for the main committee meeting.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
See you soon.